Good evening. This is Chris Sofield. I head up bucksPAC. I do hear a couple people on the call. Just a couple ground rules on the call would be please don't speak over other people, and feel free to speak up, but please wait for the previous person to stop speaking. That will make the call much nicer to listen to. We also would like to make sure that everybody's aware of bucksPAC.com, and you're welcome to go onto that site and check out our polls, our calendars, and our conservative values for this upcoming election and also for the future of the Republican Party. Who just joined us on the call?
That might be me. I'm John Kane.
John Kane. Thank you very much. This is Chris Sofield, so we'll be starting the call in about 1 minute or so.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. This is Chris Sofield. I head up an organization called bucksPAC.com. We do have a few people on the call right now.
Lisa's here.
Lisa is our guest tonight. So Lisa, thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to do a quick introduction of what bucksPAC is and what we're doing. I'm going to turn over the call to Lisa because she is doing a lot of very hectic stuff tonight. So we appreciate the time she's able to give us tonight. So my name's Chris Sofield. I head up an organization called bucksPAC. We are a conservative super PAC based here in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, in Bucks County, Pennsylvania's congressional #1 district. We are set up to promote conservative values and conservative people to get involved in our Republican Party. We are not a new party. We wish to work within the Republican Party to make sure that they espouse the conservative values that has made the Republican Party the grand old party for all these years since the Abraham Lincoln days. So we are still that same party, and we are those great people that move along on this great United States. We are 1 week out from an election. I'm sure everybody has heard of that. That will be next Tuesday, November 3rd, and we are all looking forward to that. That will be on our next discussion in 2 weeks, the results of that election. But at this point, I have a good friend on the phone tonight. Her name is Lisa Von. I always want to call her Lisa Von Delay, but it's Lisa Von Dalen. And Lisa, we appreciate the time you're able to give us tonight, and a few moments on discussing how you got involved with the Republican Party and where you're at with that Republican Party. And after Lisa introduces herself and discusses her journey, we will continue this phone conversation afterwards because I know at one point Lisa will have to jump off the call. But Lisa, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and I'll turn the phone call over to you at this moment.
All right. Well, Chris, thank you very much for inviting me to be a part of this call. And as it turns out, thanks to this drizzle that won't go away, my evening just opened up because the Boy Scouts Court of Honor just got canceled for the evening because they have to do everything outside. So I've got the entire call to hang with you guys. But at any rate, I have recently gotten involved with the Bucks County GOP. I was actually, I had it in the back of my mind for a while. I was interested in becoming a committee person. So for every voting precinct within the district, the Republican Party can have one committee man and one committee woman per voting precinct. And in all of the 9 years that I have lived at my address in Lower Bucks County, we have never had a committee person at all. And I remember years ago when I lived in Hatboro over in Montgomery County, I got to know who my committee man was, and I got to know what a committee person was because come election season, Doug would always come to my house. Sometimes he would bring a candidate. Other times it would be just him, and he would have, literature and stuff, and we would have some phenomenal conversations out on the front porch as, I would get to know, who the candidates are that were running for particular elections. And he was just a very warm and fun enjoyable person, and I always thought that was kind of a neat thing. So being here and realizing that, wow, we haven't had a committee person in the 9 years I've been here, and as I was looking at the results from our primary election this past spring, I noticed that Bucks County, especially in the lower portions, are missing a lot of committee people. So I reached out and I contacted my local executive committee man. I just happened to know who he was because I've gone to a couple of our Bristol and Bristol Borough and Bristol Township Republican meetings, and I reached out to them. I'm like, hey, I've always thought it'd be kind of neat to be a committee person. What do you have to do? And they're like, we can appoint you. And I was like, okay. So I got appointed a month or so ago, and I'm really looking forward to this opportunity. I've been able to do a little bit of door knocking. I've been able to do a little bit of phone calling on behalf of trying to get our president reelected this season. But I'm really looking forward to going forward, midterm elections and things like that, being able to get to know my constituents, especially knowing that coming up in probably our next election, there might be some judges who are up for reelection. And I always thought, for me personally, trying to research who the judges are has always been, I think, for me, one of the most difficult things. And that's information that I would love to share with my constituents, just doing some door knocking and getting to know them, so that way I want to do my part that way to be able to help bring more conservatives into actually bringing them to the voting booth, getting them active again and getting them excited about Republicans that we have running for various offices. So that's the long and the short of it. I don't know, Chris, are there any questions that you can think of that you would want to ask me?
Lisa, thank you very much for recapping that. And I do appreciate it. Lisa and I have worked together on various campaigns, and she's been so helpful. And look forward to her helping the Republican Party here in Bucks County, because that is what our Republican Party here in Bucks County needs, is somebody with the go and the drive to knock on those doors, get people involved in candidates' races, and that's what we do. With bucksPAC.com, our focus of our group is to get people involved. We place a calendar on the website with all kinds of Republican events, and we also have polls so people can interactively work with our website, bucksPAC.com. So please invite people to that. We do appreciate that. And Lisa, one thing you did say, and we can go into a little bit of our liberty issues we have here in Pennsylvania, is the fact that your son's Boy Scout event was canceled tonight because of the drizzle. But the real reason it was canceled is because it needed to be held outside, and that we can't hold events inside because of our Democrat Governor Tom Wolf. And that's one of the things that bucksPAC will be working on in the future also, is the governor's race is coming up this 2 years in 2022. So Bucks County is a very important area for Pennsylvania governors to come from. We've had a couple come from this area, and also the amount of votes that we have in our congressional district in Bucks County. So if you want to expound upon how Tom Wolf has affected your life, Lisa, I'll turn it back over to you.
Certainly. Yeah, Tom Wolf is doing his best to ruin my life. So unfortunately, the church where my son's scout troop meets, they are not letting the scouts inside at this point in time. So this past spring, when we weren't quite sure what was happening with the virus, his troop didn't meet for a couple months period, and then they started meeing over Zoom meetings, and that was actually kind of really tough because the poor kids were just absolutely screened out, over-screened, just screened to death. But now they're meeting in person, but it has to be outside. So on a night like tonight, all they have is just, and it's after dark, and we're in the parking lot of the church, so lighting's not too great because everything's dark now. I'm really looking forward to things being opened up. I've been out of work since March because I'm a school cook, So as soon as they shut the schools down, I got laid off. And I just learned at the school that I'm going to, where I work, they're hoping to have kids back in the classrooms by November 30th. So during this whole time, I've been kind of unemployed, which is annoying, but I feel very blessed that my husband has been able to maintain his job. He's a truck driver. This whole idea about what's essential, what's non-essential is just, it rubs me the wrong way, because as far as I'm concerned, every job is essential. Every paycheck is essential. I'm sick and tired of Governor Wolf and his heavy-handedness. I know here where I'm in, as far as state reps are concerned, I'm in the 141st district. So our state rep is a Democrat by the name of Tina Davis, and she has consistently voted time and time again to vote for whatever bills are coming through the House in Harrisburg as far as reopening our state. And then when Wolf vetoes it, she has consistently voted against every bill that has gone back to Wolf to try to override the veto. So we have somebody in our district who is a Republican challenger to all of that, to Tina Davis, and I've been specifically trying to do some door knocking to get Kelly Bellerby Allen elected, because her business has been affected negatively by all these shutdowns and everything. So she knows firsthand how nasty all of this is. But yeah, it's been hard. It's my own family has been messed up, which I'm sure many of you can relate to. As far as even trying to get together, I have who's to mask or not to mask. It seems to be the question, and it's tearing families apart. Family members are afraid to be around other family members, and I hate to see what's happening. But yeah, I so desperately want to get back to normal. As the president says, the virus is here. We have therapies to be able to work with it, to try to treat it. And I'm getting sick of the mainstream news constantly with all their fear-mongering to make us think that, you get this and it's an instant death sentence, because we know it's not if we actually look at the figures. So I can't wait to get some real Republicans, real conservatives back into our legislature, because this Democratic rule is taking us straight to socialism faster than we ever wanted to. Over.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I really appreciate that insight. And I know I was speaking earlier to John Kane. John, if you want to let us know why you joined us tonight on this call and explain where you are concerning the Republican Party.
I just saw the flyer online. I thought it'd be interesting to come and listen to you guys talk, listen to what you guys are all about. Future of the, or are you asking just the future of the Republican Party, or?
Well, you can let me know about yourself. You are a Republican, John?
Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
do you get involved with the committees, or do you get involved with the township? Which township are you from, John?
I'm from Newtown, and I'm not very involved with anything. I just thought it would be interesting to come and listen tonight.
Yes. So we appreciate you joining us tonight. And Newtown has a very good local GOP party committee. So you probably do want to tie in with them. We can use as much help as we can, as we're 8 days away from the biggest election in our lifetime, as they say every 4 years. But this one truly is. This is an election that will truly be a defining a choice between liberty and tyranny. And the tyranny is run by a man who is at the point of being suffering from dementia. And he is being handled by people who truly are just using him as a puppet. And it's sad to see. Or we can continue on our path of liberty, on conservative values, on the correct judges being appointed to the Supreme Court of the United States. We can continue with President Trump, the Republican president that is in office currently and all Republicans should be voting for him when it comes to the election, which is next Tuesday. I'm sure you're aware of that, John. I'm going to just make a point that, because we will take some of the recordings and we will take little snippets of them. We will use them in various things in the future, so we appreciate people being on the phone, being willing to speak up. We will be holding these calls every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. The next call will be on November 9th, which is an election recap, and we have to hope that that election will be wrapped up. We hope for a huge Trump turnout, a huge Trump win on Tuesday, November 3rd. If we do anything less than a huge victory that night, the Democrats will have an opportunity to steal back the election, as they did in California, in Orange County, where they took 5 congressional seats in 2018 after Election Day by bringing more ballots in and more votes in. So it's very important for everybody to go out, knock on doors, bring extra people to the polls on Election Day to get those votes in. So we do appreciate everybody's strong support of our president, and for him to win bigly on November 3rd. It's so very important. So everybody can keep track of that by going on to bucksPAC.com and keeping track of events going on in the Bucks County area when it comes to various events. We did post the event that was just in Newtown, John. I don't know if you got the chance to do the flag waving on Sunday afternoon in Newtown. That was held on State Street in Washington. Were you able to make that, John?
I was not able to make that. I was busy with a family event.
Exactly. So that I understand very, very well. I was able to attend that. We had 260 people on that street corner, and it was a wonderful event. It went from 12 to 3 o'clock. We occupied all 4 street corners. We had just wonderful reception from people. It was easily 10 or 15 to 1 positive responses from the cars driving through the intersection, and then you would have the various angry Democrats as they came through that intersection. But everything went well. There were 2 people who were counter-protesters, and they came in with some signs and were quickly enveloped so nobody could see their ridiculous claims that they were making about the president and blaming him for the current deaths of coronavirus. The fact that the Democrats love blaming Trump on the deaths of coronavirus on President Trump, when we know as Republicans it was the Democratic governors. Here in here in Pennsylvania, we have Democratic Governor Tom Wolf, who is directly linked to thousands of deaths of people in the nursing homes. So we want to keep an eye and make sure that the blame goes where it actually belongs. More than half of the deaths in the United States have been caused by Democratic governors in 10 states. And it's just an amazing number when you see that. The nursing home population in the United States is 1% of the people, but 41% of the deaths happen in nursing homes. So we know in New York, in Pennsylvania, New Jersey specifically, those governors sent ill patients back into the nursing homes. So we know where the blame falls, and we know who we need to support on November 3rd on election. And we can continue to do that support by going on to bucksPAC.com, having our friends go on there, check out the calendar for events coming up. I know there's a flag waving event coming up in Doylestown next Sunday, so that should be a fun event also. And we have proven, Lisa, I believe you were able to go to the event on Saturday with Joe Biden at the lower campus of Bucks County Community College. Were you able to attend that? Over.
Yes, I was officially one of the chumps for Trump. My girlfriend and I, we were able to get over there to Bucks County Community College, and that was it was just absolutely amazing just to see how the side parking lot was completely filled with hundreds and hundreds of Trump supporters in their vehicles. There had been a rally, a road rally that had started over in Bensalem, and that was an organized road rally that the whole purpose of that was to go down 95 to see the billboard that had been put up along 95 between Street and Woodhaven. And then after they circled back and got back to their starting point, which was the same shopping center where the Trump store is located, they realized, hey, Biden's over at the community college. Let's go over there. So I wasn't able to be a part of the original road rally going down 95, but I joined up with everybody over at the community college. And it was just such a fun time. It was just an amazing sight to see. And we stuck around until Biden left, because he hung out there in the building after his rally was over. He stuck around for another hour and a half or so before he left. And so we wanted to make sure that we gave him a beautiful send-off as he left to head up to Dallas for the next one. And from what I understand and the pictures I've seen, Dallas gave him even a larger greeting from the Trump supporters. They had what appears to be a couple thousand Trump supporters that came to his rally there. So no wonder he called a lid for today. Over.
Lisa, that is beautiful. It's a beautiful story. My understanding is that Joe Biden's event had about 30 cars, and the people sat in their cars, and the Sleepy Joe got up on stage and spoke a little bit and was a little bit confused. And Jill was doing most of the speaking, it seems like, on these events now. And like you say, hundreds of Trump supporters were in the parking lot. And it is funny because I got to thank Bob Hillgroup, as Bob was the one with the microphone in the parking lot supporting Trump, and I think he specifically was the one that Biden called out as the chump with the microphone. So it's good to know famous people, I guess. And we're having fun, but Democrats are all scared. That's what it comes down to. Over.
Yes, and Chris, yes, you are correct. So Biden's event was around the other side of the building. So it actually faced the back of the building, back towards the woods, is where he was set up. So we were actually sanctioned off by. They had a whole bunch of school buses that they set up as a security perimeter around where Biden was. So we were all in, what was considered the quote unquote overflow parking lot. But yes, they only had room for. From what I understand, from what I've read, they only had room for 40 cars to attend Biden's rally, and from what I understand, it was not fully packed. And then there was a handful of supporters that were in the lower end of the parking lot where all of us Trump supporters were. So there was a little bit of chanting back and forth. We kept chanting 4 more years, where the Biden supporters were chanting things that aren't repeatable in family environments. But it was a great time. And there were a couple guys there with megaphones. QAnon John was there with his megaphone. So, and yeah, Bob was there. It was wonderful. It was a lot of fun. It was a very, very uplifting experience. We had a blast. Over.
Lisa, thank you very much. John, I'd like to get you involved a little bit more in the phone call and get you more involved in politics. How long, John, I'll ask you a question. How long have you lived in the Newtown area?
I'm only 19 in my whole life. So.
Oh, okay. Very good. So, well, we love the fact that you're involved and you're registered as a Republican at 19. My neighbor's just turned 18, and he's been involved with the campaign we ran in the springtime before he was allowed to vote. but now he's allowed to vote, so he's looking forward to that. So the fact is we love as many people as we can get as the Republicans, because that is what it's going to take. I take it you went to Council Rock High School?
Yep.
Okay. And do you have plans to go to college this fall, or what is
I'm doing Penn State online right now.
Yes. And that is one of the problems with what's happening. Lisa, you were talking about how your children aren't in school, and two of the things that school provides to us, and it's why the kids should be in school, would be the fact that it provides the things you learn as working as a team, and it also teaches you social skills to be out there with other people. And when you're on a Zoom call, when you're doing things online, it is not the same as working together with other people. That is why it's so very important to get everybody back into school, and to understand that we have to do that. We have to get our schools open, our places of worship open. It's just necessary to do that. And we have Sleepy Joe talking about another shutdown, and that does not help America. So, John, I appreciate you joining us tonight. John, is there anything else you'd like to add to this call?
No, just want to thank you guys for having me tonight. It's been awesome listening. Just thank you.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We do appreciate that very much. We want you to go on to bucksPAC.com and make sure you contact with us that way. Then that way we can stay in touch with you. Make sure you get the invites to these conference calls. We do post them on Facebook. We do text them out to people, and we'll start emailing them out to people also. So these calls will be happening every 2 weeks on this same phone number and same call-in number, so you can invite your friends to it, invite family members, and we do appreciate that. Like I said, we have some upcoming calls with the November 9th election recap. So we're going to be busy through next Tuesday with the election and getting people out. But in November, we will be doing that. And November 23rd, it will be a Monday night before Thanksgiving. So it will be a Thanksgiving and a giving of thanks in America type of call. So we'll try to have some type of schedule. So feel free to invite people to the next calls and invite them to go onto our website, bucksPAC.com. We do appreciate you joining us, John. And Lisa, did you want to close with anything?
Well, I just wanted to say, thanks again for inviting me onto the call. I'm looking forward to the election recap on the 9th. John, I'm glad you were here. John, how are you doing with the virtual aspects of attending Penn State? What's that experience like for you?
It's a little bit tougher. It's different not being in the classroom setting and not interacting with my classmates and whatnot. But it is what it is right now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, because I have my daughter had just started classes at Bucks County Community College this fall. She's brand new, so she graduated from high school in May. I have a son who's a junior in high school, so yeah, they're both doing the whole virtual thing as well. And I will agree with you that being able to attend classes, period, is nice. And yeah, and I commend you and I admire you for doing. Putting your nose to the grindstone and doing what you need to do. And I just want to encourage you to let you know that, this will not be forever. This is just for a season. So I just encourage you to do everything you can to make the most of this situation, which is, far from ideal. And I'm looking forward to having all of our students back in their classrooms in the near future. Over.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for both attending, and we did have another caller on initially, but they dropped off. So we need to grow this, and right now our focus is on getting President Trump reelected on November 3rd. But after that, it's a whole new ball game. I've been through this for a lot of decades, and Trump is a real game changer when it comes to Republican Party. And what will be happening after this election, when Trump wins, he will be a lame duck, as they like to say, and they will think his power went away, but Trump's not going to let that happen. And Trump has remolded the Republican Party to more of its values, which we do appreciate very much, and we believe that he will use those 4 years growing the Republican Party, as we will see, and I believe very evident that we will see a real growth when these numbers come in on November 3rd with a Trump victory from places the Democrats don't expect, because Trump has been concerned about people and not politics, and that's been one of the wonderful things about him. So we will continue the fight and the growth of Republican parties on bucksPAC.com and on various other sites that are out there that are espousing the conservative message and message of Republicans over the tyranny of the Democratic Party. So thank you very much for joining us this evening, and in 2 weeks we'll have another call. John and Lisa, I know both of you will be talking up the election coming into the next week, and we will continue encouraging everybody to get out to vote in person. Give Trump the VIP treatment by voting in person. So good night, everybody, and thank you very much for joining bucksPAC on this phone call tonight.
Excellent. Good night.
Thank
you very much, Steve. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We'll be in touch with you, too. Have a very good evening.